Oi, eu sou Marina Guedes e esse é o Maré Sonora, o seu podcast para navegar em conversas muito inspiradoras e de vez em quando divertidas também.
Hello guys, this is a new voice. I am your new host for only 10 seconds. I am here to present the final episode with Patricia Dallas. And Marina is gonna tell you who this special voice belongs to.
So as you heard before, you had a new host, special new host directly from Brazil. Guess what? I just got back home and I'm going to be recording the next episodes from my sister's house, Monica, who happened to be your prior host.
Hello, guys.
Indeed, she only knows how to say hello, guys. So yes, she was kindly saying you're going to listen to this final episode of Patricia Dallas, the host of Gulf Harbour Radio. She does this really, really great initiative giving the weather forecast for sailors who are cruising the Southwest Pacific. So I hope you enjoyed. If you like, please don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and also become a supporter. Donate to Podcast Maré Sonora, because we do need to live. So thanks heaps for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.
See you soon, guys.
There was guys again. There was Monica. Arrivederci. Ciao, ciao. And Patricia, you are from New Zealand, right?
Yes, I am. I have a Scottish father, but I am born in New Zealand and I have an American husband. So a little bit, bit of everything, yeah.
Yeah, that was my next question. How did you and David meet? In New Zealand or in the US?
No, in the US, because I was working over there. I was sent to America because I was working in the dairy food ingredient business at the time. So I actually met him in California. Then I got moved to the other side of the country, but by then we had met and had done a lot of sailing in San Francisco Bay, of course, and decided that it would be a good idea to take me home.
When you mentioned why you were sent to the States, it cuts the word. What were you doing there? What were you sent for exactly? I couldn't hear what you said.
Well, the New Zealand dairy industry produces casein and caseinates, which are used in American foods, such as the pretend cheese and all of the nutritional products for older people and sports people and so on. So we had rather a large business over there. And that's what took me to America. And then I actually left that company and worked for a company that was based in Philadelphia. So yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in America. And then we left, in fact, from America, from San Francisco, and did the usual trip across the Pacific to New Zealand, and then did a few trips up and down to the islands. And then we decided we wanted a bigger boat. This is a pretty normal situation after you've been cruising for a while in a 38-foot boat. It was a bit of a slow boat. It was a beautiful boat made in Taiwan, but it was slow. So then we flew to Italy, in fact, and we bought a boat. Or it was actually based in Spain, but we then wintered in San Remo in Italy and did quite a few things, replaced the engine and did all sorts of things to make it able to cross oceans again, and then made our way from Italy and through the usual route to New Zealand and did the whole thing all over again, and then backwards and forwards. Probably our favorite spot is French Polynesia, so that was why we did a rather unusual trip from Wellington, as it was, to Bora Bora 1 year, but normally it would be sort of up and down into the Pacific, but yeah, we've had rather a very enjoyable time in the world with our boat. It's I'd like to be 20 years younger again to do it all again.
Your first boat was 38. Did I hear right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was a Hans Christian Mark II 38. It was a really lovely boat, but it was a little bit on the slow side, particularly in short chop water conditions. But it was a good boat for me to start because, like you, I hadn't done any ocean type stuff. So it was a very safe and forgiving boat for me to do my first ocean passage in. So that was good. And then we bought a Moody 47. So and that's the one we still have now, in fact.
Nice, super nice to hear. And one thing I was imagining now, Patricia, what's your opinion about these rallies that are getting more and more frequent, like the Arc or the Aussie one that lives across the Pacific? What do you think about this sort of traveling style where people join these rallies and go together as if they were just checking and arriving and quickly leaving the islands? What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, gosh, that would be a session in itself for us to talk about, because there are positives and negatives. A rally is not for us. I mean, David and I just like to do our own thing. We like to go to fairly peaceful anchorages. We like to talk to the locals and get to know the places that we go to, and we spend quite a lot of time. When we go from New Zealand to the islands, we never do more than one or two at a time, because we like to spend the maximum time in that particular outer group that we're allowed to. Unfortunately, New Caledonia, you can only spend 3 months, so you have to go to Vanuatu. But Vanuatu and Fiji, you can stay there for the season, and that's what we like to do. And we cannot understand people that do everything all in the one season, because it's very hard to get to know people. We've gone in Vanuatu back to the same village 3 times to, well, usually to bring things that they might want, or just to see them, or whatever it happens to be. And that's what we enjoy. So for us, a rally is not good. But there are other people who prefer the social aspects of a rally, and they might be first-time people in the ocean, cruising, and therefore for those people who have not spent all their life with a boat, that might be useful, because they get to learn a lot from the rally people. A lot of the rally organisers do a very good job of educating people in various aspects of cruising. So for them that have not had that long-term experience in the water, and Marina, you would be surprised. Some people finish work, they buy a boat, and they're off. I mean, it's astounding to us, and we're not talking a small boat either. So for those people, I think a rally is quite good, but they seem to think that there's a lot of support when you're out at sea. There isn't. I mean, when those boats leave, they all go at different speeds, slightly different routes. So you are, in fact, on your own once you hit the ocean. And I think that that needs to be understood by people who go on the rallies, because, yes, at the other end, you've got everybody around you and you can talk about things. But, yeah, we could talk about the pluses and minuses. But the other good thing about a rally is that sometimes they will organise to go into a different area that you as an individual can't go into. For example, if you're going from New Zealand to Fiji, the rally might have organised to go into the Lao group first. Or if you're going to New Caledonia, it might have, from Fiji to New Caledonia, they might have organised to go into the loyalties first. So you can't do that as an individual. So there are pluses and minuses. It's just up to the individuals what they would prefer. From our perspective, we like to do our own thing, because we don't like to be set for time, to leave. And we also like to have very peaceful anchorages, not 20 boats. Excuse me. So yes, boy, it's a big topic, isn't it? I think it's up to the individuals, but I have seen lately, particularly in New Zealand, I was very against the rally group, but the current management of what they call the ICA is very, very good, and there's excellent courses to listen to on podcasts and the like. Very good organization. So yeah, it just depends what you're really after. And if you're short time and you want to hit A, B, C, D, E, F in 4 months, then I guess a rally is good. But if you want to be more relaxed with your cruising, then yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Or mix and match, start off with a rally and then get to feel the feel of everything and get the experience, and then do your own thing. Yeah. Didn't really answer the question, I don't think, but it is an individual thing.
No, you did answer. Absolutely, you did. Of course you did. And Patricia, if you had to say what is your favorite place in New Zealand for sailing, I mean, would you be able to choose 1 or 2 maximum places you like most in your own country?
Well, again, it gets back to what you really want to do. Last year, for example, we left home the day after Christmas, and we came back the first week of May. We spent the entire time at Great Barrier Island. Now, that would be a surprise to you because we did not do too much sailing, but I like to hike, and the trails in Great Barrier Island are absolutely magnificent. Beautiful, beautiful bush, good exercise up the hills and so on. Very beautiful. The kayaking is lovely. Fishing is fantastic. We lived on snapper the entire time. So for us last year, Great Barrier Island, the entire time. The year before, and what we're going to do this year, we're just going to go day hops up the North Island. We'll probably start at Great Barrier, but then go back to the mainland, go up to all of the beautiful little anchorages up the North Island as far as probably as Monganui. And I've actually detailed that on the website so people can follow the route that we took and where the good anchorages are. Again, because I like to hike and I like to kayak and we like to fish. So a lot of these places are chosen because of those factors, plus some important factors of where to get rid of garbage, where to shop for some new fresh supplies. There is one place that has a water buoy where you can go and fill up with water if you want to do a vast amount of laundry and your water maker is working too hard. So yes, this year it will be hop, skip and jump all the way up the North Island. Again, though, it depends on weather, doesn't it? As you know, New Zealand can be a little bit erratic in summertime. And last year, the reason we stayed in Great Barrier was it was a La Nina year. So a lot of easterlies, nor'easterlies, so made some of the anchorages going up the east coast of the North Island, a little bit on the rolly side. So that does play a factor in where you would choose to go. And this year, La Nina is sort of easing down almost to neutral. So it will be a lot more comfortable.
So you're not going to be doing the net when you're doing this sailing around New Zealand, right?
No, because the net is for people who are in the Southwest Pacific and they will all have left the cyclone season. Some people do stay up there, but they will be right in Fiji or New Caledonia and close to a hurricane hole or where it happens to be. Having said that, last year we got 2 cyclones in New Zealand, which was kind of interesting. But yes, no, there's no point in running the net because everybody is where they want to be. In fact, what happens with the Europeans is that they will often come to New Zealand and fly home for Christmas to see family and do a few things and then come back sort of in the February time frame. So yes, nobody is really needing a net during what is our summer. So we do not run it then.
I know. I remember you do car racing, you go shooting, you do heaps of very active stuff. What's your background? Like, what did you study at university? Just tell me a bit of it, just to have an idea of how versatile you are. Because I remember you're super active. It's incredible the amount of diverse things you do.
Yeah, well, those hobbies were sort of quite strange how they started in New Zealand, mostly because of my husband. But I did science, chemistry and maths at university. So that was quite different. And that's why I was working in research and labs and then the food industry and so on. So nothing to do with my hobbies. But my husband, well, let's talk about it's not car racing, it's track driving. You're not allowed to call it racing.
Sorry.
You're very strict rules when you go on the track with your car. You are not allowed to pass on corners and you can only pass on straights and things like that. But anyway, we had this car when we came back, and well, it was quite funny really, because remember we've been cruising a lot of years and going at 6 knots. When I came back to having quite a powerful car, it just seemed very, very fast. So I went and got some training, and the training was on the local racetrack, Hampton Downs. And we found it was rather fun. And David had done car racing when he was in America, so he was experienced at that, but I wasn't. So it just developed from there. And so we had his car, which eventually, because he kept making modifications and it got faster and faster and more torque, I decided I needed my own. So I bought a car. So we both raced on the track. No, sorry, shouldn't use that word race, but we both did track driving. And so track driving. That's how that started. And the shooting is actually a very good sport for older people because it's the old eye-hand coordination. It's target shooting, pistol shooting. So we still do that. Actually, we do not take our cars on the track anymore, mainly because it got very expensive. When you take your car on the track, you tend to go very fast, and that goes through rotors and brake pads, and in my case I had things like power steering went, so it was getting rather expensive. So now we just do our shooting and we do that every Sunday. And it's good fun, and you meet a different group of people, of course, and so it's shooting is a very good sport for keeping your reflexes going as they should. I wouldn't say we're going to be competing at the Olympics anytime soon. We're not that good, but we really enjoy the target shooting.
That's so cool. And about your sailing experience. So altogether, how long have you been sailing?
I know that from my perspective on ocean sailing, because we set off from San Francisco when I was just turning 50. So I'm now 74. So we have been with our boat, one boat or the other, for almost 25 years. But David, he's been in boats virtually since he could, I think he was about 10 when he got his first boat. So yes, he has done an awful lot more sailing than I have. I used to be in dinghy sailing on Wellington Harbour, which was quite a challenge. But in terms of bigger boats, only since, before we left, I'd been on San Francisco Bay probably a couple of years. But yeah, quite a while when you think about it.
Patricia, what about the audience on Gulf Harbour Radio? What are they mostly from? What can you tell about the nationalities you've been interacting with?
That's a good question, because it's almost impossible to say. We know the boat nationalities, although these days sometimes the boat registration doesn't reflect the where the people are from. But gosh, they can be all over the place. And as far as the people listening on streaming, we don't know, because all we get is their name, their a screen name. We have, I presume somebody who knows more about how to operate the internet than I do would be able to work that out, but we just don't know. They come from all over.
It's funny because Diego's registration was from France, Italian,
yes.
but the French flag bold.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting, and the same thing happens more so now in New Zealand. This is a bit complicated, but before a New Zealander can take their boat offshore, they have to get what we call Cat 1 certification, which Category 1 is a whole stream of criteria aimed to keep you safe. Now, because it is long-winded and complicated, and in some cases, and I'll give you an example, our boat, we have put a fuel tank in the center, so you cannot see the top of the keel bolts. Now, the Category 1 inspection requires an inspection of the keel bolts, and you can't get to them in our boat, so we could not pass Category 1, or we'd have to get some sort of permission. Anyway, it would be difficult. So a lot of New Zealand boats now will get registration somewhere else. Now, that's easy to do if one of the partners is Danish or Swedish or whatever, but Cook Islands seems to be quite a popular place to go to for registration now, and that means you don't have to get New Zealand Category 1 before you leave. Now, what we did was still go through the inspection, because to us it was a good safety thing for somebody independent of us to go through all of the requirements, except for the keel bolt. So we did that, but didn't do the final signing off. So yes, when you look at some of these boats, and some of we get a lot of boats registered by companies. I guess there's some sort of tax thing or whatever it happens to be in Europe. A lot of British boats have some of the British, the Bermudas or wherever. I don't understand what it is, but there is obviously some reason, probably financial, that people have a different registration for their boats. So again, that makes it quite hard to work out where the people will be from. Sometimes we know that it's quite complicated, because if a boat wants to change their destination and I need to get hold of customs and immigration for them, I need to know their passports, what nationality it is. And there's often quite a variety, particularly with crew, because some people are found in all sorts of different parts of the world, and they want to do a passage. So they will sign on to do a passage, which is a good idea, because sometimes the passage to New Zealand can be quite torrid. So to have an extra person or two, if there's just two of you on board, is actually quite useful, because it gives you a bit more sleep. So these people can be from anywhere. Yeah. Right.
As a last question, Patricia, in this first talk between us, and I'm sure there will be more. It's always a pleasure to hear you and to share your adventures through this really inspiring life. I would like to ask you, what do you like best about sailing? What do you miss, like when you're not out there sailing? What do you miss most, and what inspires you to keep sailing, to keep going out in the ocean?
Well, I'll tell you what I miss most from not sailing now, and that's the warm water in the islands. I just love being able to snorkel or free dive around beautiful tropical gardens under the sea. That's what I miss most, I think, and that's what I'd like to go back to, is that lovely warm water with all the different fish and the corals. So that's what I miss, and I think that's what would, that's what I'd like to go back to. And I have very fond memories of places like the Marshall Islands and Vanuatu, northern Vanuatu, just some of those beautiful underwater gardens with the fish.
Thank you so much, Patricia. Once again, it was lovely seeing you again and listening to you. And please keep in touch and come over to Italy. You and David are really, really welcome to stay with us.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yeah, but I'm going to wait until you get your house finished.
Okay.
All right, lovely to talk to you too, Marita, and make contact again. So it brings back lots of memories from when you were in New Zealand. Ciao.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the series with Patricia Dallas. And if you liked, please subscribe, share with your friends, and follow up. I will be back next Sunday. Stay tuned. And the final message here with a special host.
Waiting for your comments, guys.
Guys.
Beijo.